Hey everyone, welcome back to Love and Light Studios. How's everyone doing today? We're doing something a little different.
What?
You never know what we're going to do up in here. You never know. So we have a testimony from our friend Jessica, and we are so excited to hear what God's been doing in her life. And Karen made a comment on one of the videos. Hey, you got a testimony? Well, we got one. So we brought her to us. So now you guys get to enjoy and hear what God is doing in her life.
Do you remember specifically which video?
Oh, what
and I
video?
purposely put her on the spot.
Yeah. No.
Do you remember what video?
I can picture in my head what video it was. It was a testimony video about her husband with the.
Come on, man.
Good job. Yeah. Yes. That's awesome.
Let me guess.
Awesome.
That's probably why the Lord had you forget about it.
Oh.
She could do it.
Let's go with that. Sure. Let's go with that one.
Yeah.
That's
So,
funny.
yeah.
But we apply everyday life stuff on this channel, so we love to hear it. And Jessica is a friend of the channel, so she don't live too far, so she was allowed in the studio today. So let's start off by, I guess you watch the channel if you comment on it.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you experienced as you watch it, and then what made you comment, specifically what you commented?
I started watching the video because I have known these people and I know that they talk about the Lord and encourage you and so it's something that I wanted to listen to get some more insight and encouragement in the Lord. And so I started watching it, and so when they said to share your testimony, it's something that I do to people, but not publicly out there. Like for like a video, I've never done that, so I figured that would be something get out of my comfort zone to do. So I said, well, that'd be nice if I could do something that just out of my comfort zone, and to do it in a more open setting.
Do the videos help you any in your everyday life?
Yes, they do. They do help me a lot in my life when I go back and reflect on what I've heard and in my personal life. You know, I go back and reflect on the videos and the scriptures and study them, and it really helps.
So like I say, when I say it's an appetizer, then you go in and study and make it a meal or whatever between you and God.
I do.
I mean, you can hear Tanya say it a lot, that she watches the channel over, or listens or whatever, over and over and over and over, and God just confirms all the time. And I mean, there's just no way He could. And for you to humble yourself, you know, and listen, and you're a lot like that too, over and over. I think God just honors it, and I think God's going to honor you for taking the time to do it. And I think I did say it on the video that I hope that God just blows her mind because she took the time, the effort, and energy to come here or to watch it and comment on it. And actually, she's the one on our If My People
Yes.
video. I said, what does that mean? Because God intentionally, when you first had it, you didn't have the 3 dots.
Yes.
So when you put it up, I'm like, it needs 3 dots. Because I want to know what people think after If My People. I didn't mean the president.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But anyways, If
Yeah.
My People, I wanted to know. So she just kind of said whatever she said without looking in the Bible. So that's really interesting. I hope y'all enjoy. We're going to give Jess the floor. Is there anything you can think to ask her or
That's
what
it.
you want to know about?
Oh, I just can't wait to hear the story.
All right, this is a story about my car. Now, mind you, I had just got this car back, I think in February, and I came home from work one night, and I was looking on the floorboard of my car, and it looked like what could be kind of mold, and I'm like, well, why would that be there, you know? So I took the carpet out, and it's wet under it, and I'm like, okay, why is it wet under it? And then the driver's side was wet under it, and the back was wet, and it was just like wet. Like if you touched it, it wasn't like nothing you could see. You could see it from when you picked up the mat, but you had to touch it to really see it. So I was like, okay, so I took the mats out, and I was going to vacuum it, but it started pouring down rain. So I said, well, the next day I'll vacuum it out. So I went to vacuum it out the next day, and those two, mind you, this was Monday when I did it, and Tuesday when I vacuumed it out. And so Wednesday I was off of work, and I said, well, let me go, it's still wet, let me go see if the mechanic can see why it's wet. And so I went to the mechanics, they said, well, we can't look at it, you have to go to the dealership because it could be like a very serious thing, it could be your roof, it could be all these things. So I went to the dealership and said, we can't look at it till a week later. They didn't have no appointments. I said, well, okay. The only people that look at it, so I have to make the appointment. Nobody else wanted to look at it. So this was on Wednesday. So the afternoon I was driving home and I heard this sloshing noise in my car. And I'm like, I never heard that before. So I get home and I go in the back seat. It's full of water in the back. And I'm like, okay, so this is more serious than I thought. It's more serious than I thought. So finally, it was in the afternoon. Mechanics are probably closing down. So I called my dad, who's a mechanic. And mind you, he doesn't live around here. Or of course, I took it to him. And I said, Dad, this is what's happening to my car. You know, he said, oh, I think I know what that is because I just had a car recently do that with your air conditioning or something. Can you, and he said, oh, I know a guy that might can look at it. And I said, great. He said, why don't you see if you can go to Walmart and see if they'll empty the air conditioner, they have a plug or something. Walmart said, no, we can't do that. So my dad called me back and he said, well, the guy will look at it for you. You can go right now. So I went and the guy looked at it. He said, how about this? It's getting late in the afternoon, so bring it to me tomorrow and I'll look at it fuller and get the answers for you. So the next day I went and I was praying on the way when I brought the car, just praying to God that it would, you know, that he wouldn't have to tear the floorboards out, that everything would be fine, and just, you know, trusting God. And so I dropped my car off and went to work. When I went to work, mind you, I work at a nursing home. So I was in a resident's room and I was getting him dressed for the day and I took a pair of socks out of his door. And when I took the pair of socks out of his door, I was like, there's something in these socks. And so I pulled it out and it's money. And I went, what? What's money doing in a sock? And so I was sitting there, I was just dumbfounded. But then I was sitting there and God said, I've got this. I've got this. And I was like, okay. So a couple hours later, I'm like, I text the guy, I said, how's my car doing? He said, it'll be ready at 4 p.m. That's all he said. And I'm like, well, don't I have to pay this guy or don't have to pay him? And so I was like, so I said, what was wrong with it? Exactly what your dad said. And I said, okay. And so I called my dad. I said, Dad, the car's ready. The car's fine. Everything's great. I'm thinking my dad paid for it maybe because he knows the guy. He said, how much did it cost? And he said, $0. He's like, what? I said, yes. He didn't charge me. So in that story, you know, it just showed me to trust Jesus because he's got it. Because at one point during that whole situation, I was a little bit starting to have a little bit of stress and anxiety. And I had a friend tell me, she said, just take a deep breath, it'll be okay. And at that moment, it kind of calmed me down because at one point I was a little anxious. And so I just, you know, started praying to God. And so that story, just trust God. He's got it, you know.
That's one of the things I was going to ask you. Did fear creep in right there? Because, you know, we count on our vehicles to take us where we need to go, especially to work so we can pay our bills. But I know you've been saved how long? How many years?
Probably most of my life.
20 years maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you felt it coming on and then you redirected, or is that what you
I
did?
redirected because at that time I was talking to my phone on the friend. Well, then she had texted me later when we got off the phone and was like, because I think she could tell I was getting anxious. And sometimes, like, for me, like, I might not know it in the moment. Then afterwards, okay, I'm getting anxious. So at that moment when she told me that, just her words saying that, a friend kind of calmed me down. I was like, okay. And I said, God, you got this, you know, and realized that it was starting to get up there. And then I just, you know, released it to God and it.
You know, do you think you could have went there that quickly if you hadn't already prepared on the days where nothing's going on?
No, I don't think I would have. I wouldn't have realized it as much, or I would have just, yeah.
Because a lot of people, you know, want Jesus when things are bad, or they ain't really got time for him because they're busy, you know. He's the God on the mount, but he's the God in the valley too. You know what I'm saying? So I think the preparation day in and day out is exactly what could help you in that situation. Did you automatically expect the worst was going to happen, or did you stop and go like, I'm just going to walk this out?
Well, at the beginning I did, because a couple of mechanics I went to said, we got to take the floorboard out, we got to do all this stuff. So I did hear some stuff that kind of, well, you know, because when the mechanic said they wouldn't look at it, so but some of the things they had said to me were like, you know, making me think, oh, the worst. But then afterwards, when my friend told me that, it finally calmed me down, and I just trusted Jesus in it and was like, okay, God's got this, you know. It's just a car, it's material things. And so I finally had to think that it's just material things, it's just a car, you know, as long as, you know, he's got it, you know. So finally, and then when the Lord told me that with the money at work, it really, God's got this, I think that really set in stone that yes, God's got this.
Yeah.
Whatever the outcome is, he still got it.
Yeah, and also I noticed you say what a friend told you twice, and a lot of our videos we talk about that. Remember, love God with your whole heart and everything. I don't know if that video's come out yet, and your neighbor as yourself, basically the same way. So when people are going through stuff, they should be able. Remember, I say it all the time: partake of our fruit, and that's what she did with her friend, so it could help her because we need each other and we got to help each other, and then. The daily practice of walking these things out, learning or growing, and staying face to face with God. We talk about that all the time, face to face with God. And then if you look towards the mechanic, God can redirect you back to His face, and it ain't got to take years or weeks or months or decades even. Then I'm pretty sure some people are probably in the middle of that right now when it comes to God. You know, it's been such a long time since they depended on Him. Oh, I got this, I'll borrow this, I'll figure this, and go be stressful when we have a God that's victorious. Basically, we talk about this all the time on this channel, living victoriously. And even though she may have got off just a little bit, she got back on really quickly. Because what if you hadn't? Can you remember back before God what you would have done before God? How crazy you would have been, how devastated.
That anxiousness probably would have overtaken me to where I wouldn't be able to make the wise decision or hear His voice, you know. And I believe one thing He showed me about this is if I'm going to hear the anxious voice more, then I'm going to hear the enemy's voice more than I'm going to hear God's voice, you know, because that anxiousness is His voice. And so I believe He showed me I'm going to hear Him and not hear Jesus, so I'm not going to do the wise thing or that God would want me to do, you know. And then I could have gotten more of a mess. It could have been, you know, in that situation if I would have listened to that voice instead of God's voice.
Yeah. And what we were just talking about, I think you said you're in Proverbs, the wisdom.
Yes.
And then when I was delivering in Atlanta, I see the owl on the side of the van for wisdom. I mean, all of this stuff is so relevant to just everyday life. And I think sometimes people get off track and they don't make it applicable to what we do every day.
Yeah.
I love it. Very good testimony.
Wonderful.
I hope we have more people. I mean, and you might not can drive here or whatever, and you can drop it in the comments. But we can do Zoom on the computer. We've done that before with a friend of ours and a friend of yours in Ohio. We used to do some Bible study and stuff like that. So I love just everyday testimonies. And yours with your husband is very important. Hers with her vehicle. I mean, and really every single thing's important. So.
That it is.